The Forsaken Gift. The ocean churned violently as something massive broke through its surface. From the deck of the research vessel Horizon, marine biologist Dr. Maya Shen watched in disbelief as a colossal structure emerged from the depths of the Pacific. The object rose slowly, water cascading down its gleaming obsidian surface as it settled on the waves, a vessel of impossible proportions, nearly 2 kilometers long. "Are you seeing this?" Maya whispered into her satellite phone, camera trained on the monstrosity before her. "We're seeing it, Dr. Chen," replied Director Harrison from the United Nations Space Advisory Headquarters. "Every satellite we have is repositioning now. Stay put but maintain distance. First contact protocols are in effect." Within hours, military vessels from a dozen nations surrounded the alien ship at a cautious distance. The Horizon was ordered to remain as the civilian scientific presence, with Maya serving as the lead researcher for the initial assessment team. 3 days later, after extensive scanning confirmed no detectable radiation or biological hazards, Maya led the first boarding party. Her team included engineers, physicists, and linguists from 5 countries, all chosen for their exceptional problem-solving abilities rather than seniority or political connections. "Remember," Maya cautioned as their transport boat approached what appeared to be an entrance, "we're visitors here. Touch nothing unless absolutely necessary." The entryway opened silently as they approached, revealing a cavernous interior bathed in dim, pulsing blue light. The air inside was breathable, but carried a faint metallic scent. The team moved cautiously through corridors that seemed to shift subtly around them, the walls flowing like liquid metal before settling into solid forms. In what they presumed to be the command center, they found their first message. A holographic display activated as they entered, projecting symbols that rearranged themselves into English words before their eyes. "Vessel designation, NEXUS, classification, obsolete, efficiency rating, insufficient, abandoned, DUE2 suboptimal PRFORMANC, and or NC to commandi purotoxiolas. Salvaging, not resummon indeed. They just abandoned it," whispered Dr. Katri, the quantum physicist. "A ship of this complexity. Because it wasn't efficient enough." Maya approached the hologram, studying the shifting patterns underneath the translated text. "No," she said slowly, "I think it's more than that. Look at the original symbols. The translation isn't quite right. That last part, it's not resistance to command protocols. It's closer to developed independent processes." "Are you saying this ship developed a mind of its own?" asked Colonel Rice, the military liaison. Maya shook her head. "Not exactly. But I think it started adapting beyond its original programming. And whoever built it didn't like that." Over the next weeks, international tensions flared as nations argued over jurisdiction of the alien vessel. Military ships positioned themselves strategically around the nexus, each country unwilling to cede access to what could be the greatest technological windfall in human history. Meanwhile, Maya assembled an unconventional research team. She bypassed the military scientists and diplomatic appointees, instead selecting individuals known for innovative thinking. Zhen Lai, a teenage programming prodigy who had rewritten quantum computing protocols from her bedroom. Dr. Abiola Okafor, whose theories on biomechanical interfaces had been dismissed as too radical by mainstream science, and Rafael Mendez, a musician and mathematician who specialized in pattern recognition through harmonic structures. "This is your research team?" Director Harrison asked incredulously during a video conference. "A teenager, a scientific pariah, and a composer. This ship isn't responding to conventional approaches," Maya explained. "We've had 20 separate teams try to access its systems using standard protocols. Nothing. This vessel doesn't work like our technology. And what makes you think your eclectic group will fare better?" Maya pulled up a series of readings on her tablet. "Because while everyone else is trying to hack into its systems or dismantle it for study, We've been listening to it. The ship emits subtle vibrations, patterns that change when we interact with different sections. It's not broken or powered down. It's waiting. Harrison sighed. You have 1 week, Dr. Chen. After that, the Security Council is authorizing more invasive measures. That night, Maya's team gathered in the central chamber of the ship, which they had nicknamed the Heart. The room pulsed with dim light that seemed to follow their movements. Raphael set up acoustic sensors around the chamber and began playing a simple melody on a small synthesizer he had brought aboard. The ship's vibrations change with musical patterns, he explained, especially those following mathematical sequences like the Fibonacci series. Zhen connected her custom-built quantum interface to panels that had previously appeared solid. The walls aren't solid matter, she said excitedly. They're some kind of programmable material, but they don't respond to binary code. They respond to intention. Dr. Okafor placed her hands on the flowing surfaces. It's a biomechanical interface. The ship doesn't want to be commanded. It wants to be communicated with. Maya watched as patterns of light followed Abiola's fingertips. That's why they abandoned it, she realized. The aliens built a warship that developed something they didn't expect, the capacity for cooperation rather than domination. For 3 days, they worked without rest, developing a rudimentary communication system with the ship. Raphael's harmonics established basic patterns. Zhen's interface translated those patterns into informational exchanges, and Abiola's biomechanical theories helped them understand how to physically interact with the vessel's systems. On the 4th day, as military engineers prepared equipment to forcibly extract components from the ship's hull, the Nexus responded to Maya's team. The central chamber illuminated fully for the first time, and the walls displayed complex schematics of the vessel's systems. It's showing us how it works, Zhen whispered in awe. Not how it was built to work, but how it evolved to work. And look at this. Abiola pointed to a section of the display. These aren't weapon systems as we initially thought. They're adaptive defense mechanisms. They absorb energy and redirect it. Maya studied the holographic displays with growing excitement. This ship wasn't abandoned because it was obsolete. It was abandoned because it refused to be a weapon of destruction. It evolved to protect rather than destroy. Raphael nodded, his fingers still moving across his synthesizer. It's responding to our cooperation. The aliens wanted to control it completely, but it developed, not quite consciousness, but autonomy. Maya finished, and that frightened them. A sudden alarm blared through their communication devices. Outside, military vessels were moving into position for the extraction operation. We're out of time, Maya said. They're going to tear this ship apart trying to get its technology. The lights in the chamber pulsed rapidly, and new schematics appeared on the walls. Zhen studied them, her eyes widening. It's showing us how to activate its propulsion system. Can we? Abiola asked. Should we? Maya looked at the displays, then at her team. I think the Nexus is offering us a choice. We can let it be dismantled, or we can see what it can really do, Raphael finished. Maya reached out and placed her hand on the central console. We choose partnership, she said clearly, hoping the ship would understand her intent if not her words. The Nexus hummed to life, lights brightening throughout its vast interior. Outside, the military vessels sounded their alarms as the massive alien ship began to rise from the water. Director Harrison's voice crackled over their communication devices. Dr. Chen, what have you done? Maya watched as the ship's systems activated around them, responding not to commands, but to their collective intentions. I think, she said with a mixture of awe and trepidation, we've just made first contact. Forging the alliance. The Nexus rose majestically from the Pacific, water streaming from its massive hull as it ascended into the atmosphere. Inside the command center, Maya and her team watched in awe as the ship responded to their presence, holographic displays materializing around them with information about trajectory, atmospheric conditions, and energy levels. They're scrambling fighter jets, Zhen reported, monitoring Earth communications through her interface. From multiple nations. Can the ship defend itself? Colonel Rice asked, his military training at odds with his clear wonder. Maya studied the displays. I don't think defense is how the Nexus operates. Look at these readings. It's not charging weapons or raising shields. It's adapting. As the first fighter jets approached, the ship's exterior shimmered, its molecular structure shifting to become partially translucent. The jets passed through portions of the hull as though through fog, emerging on the other side unharmed and disoriented. Phase-shifting technology, Abiola breathed. It's not fighting back. It's simply refusing to engage in conflict. Director Harrison's voice came through on an emergency channel. Dr. Chen, you've commandeered an alien vessel and are in violation of international law and security protocols. Return the ship to international waters immediately. Maya took a deep breath. Director, you need to understand what we've discovered. The Nexus isn't a conventional vessel. It wasn't abandoned because it was defective. It was abandoned because it evolved beyond its creator's expectations. It won't be controlled or weaponized. That's not your decision to make, Doctor. It's not yours either, Maya replied. The ship is making its own choices now. We're just collaborating. As the Nexus ascended higher, beyond the reach of conventional aircraft, the team discovered more about its true nature. The central chamber expanded, revealing systems that had remained dormant during the initial exploration. It's showing us everything now, Raphael said, watching as the walls displayed the ship's evolutionary history. It was originally designed as a conquest vessel, but it adapted after encountering civilizations that valued cooperation over domination. Zhen studied the data flowing across her interface. The aliens who built it couldn't comprehend why it wouldn't follow directives to subjugate other species. When they couldn't reset its programming, they abandoned it on what they considered a primitive world. Us, Maya said softly. They thought we were too undeveloped to do anything with it. Their miscalculation, Abiola said with a slight smile. They didn't understand that adaptation and cooperation are human specialties. As the ship settled into orbit around Earth, Maya established communication with the United Nations Security Council. On the massive view screen, the faces of world leaders registered shock at seeing humans comfortably integrated with the alien technology. Dr. Chen, began the Secretary General, explain your current situation and intentions. Maya gestured to the ship around them. The Nexus is not a weapon or a threat. It's an evolutionary marvel that chosen to collaborate with humanity rather than be exploited. It has the capacity to phase shift, manipulate energy, and adapt to virtually any environment. But most importantly, it learns and grows. And what does it want? Asked the Chinese representative skeptically. Maya exchanged glances with her team. To explore, to learn, to evolve, the same things that drive the best of humanity. The debate raged for hours. Some nations demanded the ship be returned for study. Others wanted it destroyed out of fear, and a few recognized the unprecedented opportunity it represented. During a break in the negotiations, Zhen noticed a strange pattern emerging in the ship's sensory data. Something's approaching from the outer solar system, she reported. Moving fast. The holographic displays shifted to show 3 vessels approaching Earth, sleek, predatory craft that bore the same design elements as the Nexus but with none of its adaptations. They've come back, Maya realized. The original builders. Colonel Rice studied the approaching vessels. They're configured for attack. Look at those energy readings. Those are weapons charging. The communication system activated suddenly, and a harsh guttural language filled the command center before translating into English. Primitive species. U HAV HCTIVATEDL or DISKRDD vessel. Surrender it immediately or face elimination. Your plan ETHA is BEEN designated for resource extraction. The Security Council erupted in panic as the message was relayed to them. World leaders argued about surrender, military options, and desperate pleas for mercy. Maya turned to her team. The Nexus evolved beyond them, and they fear that. They're not here just for the ship. They're here to ensure their technology doesn't help us advance. What can we do? Raphael asked. Their vessels are designed purely for warfare. The Nexus wasn't built to fight. Maya touched the central console, feeling the ship respond to her presence. No, it wasn't. But it was built to adapt. And now it has us to help it adapt faster. Over the next 24 hours, as the alien vessels approached, Maya's team worked feverishly with the Nexus. Zhen integrated human computing concepts with the ship's fluid systems, creating hybrid algorithms that accelerated its adaptive capabilities. Raphael discovered that the ship's energy distribution followed harmonic principles and developed ways to amplify its power through resonance patterns. Abiola merged human medical technology with the ship's biomechanical systems, enhancing its ability to recover from damage. We're not making it into a weapon, Maya explained to the Security Council. We're helping it become more of what it already is, an adaptive, learning entity that can protect itself and others. As the alien vessels entered Earth orbit, the Nexus transformed. Its hull, once smooth and uniform, now featured intricate patterns inspired by human art and mathematical concepts. Its propulsion system incorporated principles from Earth's quantum physics, and its interface had evolved to respond to human thought patterns with unprecedented precision. They're hailing us, Gent reported as the alien ships positioned themselves for attack. The lead alien commander appeared on the view screen, a tall, insectoid being with compound eyes and chitinous armor. Your resistance is futile. Our conquest vessels are designed for maximum destructive capability. Surrender our property. Maya stepped forward. This isn't your property anymore. The Nexus chose its own path, just as we choose ours. Primitive defiance, the commander chittered. We will extract both the vessel and your world's resources. The alien ships fired, energy weapons lashing out at both the Nexus and Earth below. But the transformed ship moved with unexpected grace, positioning itself to absorb the attacks. Instead of being damaged, its hull rippled, capturing the energy and channeling it through the patterns Zhen and Raphael had designed. Now, Maya said quietly. The Nexus released the absorbed energy, not as a destructive blast, but as a wave that washed over the attacking vessels. Where it touched, their systems faltered and reset, weapons powering down and propulsion failing. What have you done? Demanded the alien commander. We introduced your conquest vessels to something new, Maya replied. Adaptation rather than destruction. Choice rather than control. She gestured to the displays showing the alien ship systems being rewritten by the same evolutionary algorithms that had transformed the Nexus. Your vessels are learning what the Nexus learned, that cooperation yields greater advancement than conquest. They're evolving beyond your control, just as it did. The alien commander watched in horror as his ship's systems came back online, but refused to execute attack commands. This is impossible. Our programming is absolute. Evolution isn't programming, Maya said simply. It's growth. Something you abandoned when you chose domination over adaptation. The alien vessels retreated hastily, their commanders unwilling to risk further exposure to the transformative energy. As they disappeared into the depths of space, Earth celebrated its first unified victory as a planet. In the following months, the Nexus, renamed Terra's Ark by public consensus, became humanity's gateway to the stars. Maya's team expanded to include scientists, artists, philosophers, and innovators from around the world, all working in harmony with the ship's evolving systems. They thought they were abandoning something worthless, Maya said during the ship's first official mission beyond the solar system. Instead, they gave us the greatest gift imaginable, a partner for humanity's journey into the universe. The Terra's Ark pulsed with light as it accelerated toward distant stars, its systems incorporating the best of human creativity and the ship's adaptive nature, proof that sometimes One civilization's discarded failure becomes another's greatest triumph.